The employees at LakeCraft Boats leave at 5 o'clock the same way they arrived at 7. They move toward the parking lot, heads down, done for the day. Jennifer watches them from her car when she drives past. She knows that walk. She did it for 10 years. She does not do it anymore. My name is Marcus Jones, the finance detective. Today, I am opening case file 524. She spent a decade on an assembly line learning everything about a business. Then she went out and built a business of her own. She owns 18 pontoon boats and 35 partner locations across the Midwest. Her business generates $180,000 a year. Nobody at LakeCraft saw her coming. That was the plan. Let me show you the file. Syracuse, Indiana has a population of 2,800 people. More lakes exist within 30 miles than most people realize. Jennifer grew up there. She graduated high school and worked retail for 5 years before being hired at LakeCraft Boats. LakeCraft was a local pontoon manufacturer, and Jennifer started on the assembly line at $13 an hour. People at LakeCraft saw her as reliable, quiet, patient, and probably a lifer. They expected her to spend 20 years doing roughly what she was already doing. What they did not see was that Jennifer was studying. She was paying attention to the thing directly in front of her every single day. She had already decided that everything she was learning was going to matter later. She watched which pontoon models came back to warranty and which ones did not. She learned which engines held up, specifically Mercury and Yamaha. She also learned which components failed first, including the carpet, seats, railings, and electrical. What customers kept asking more than anything else was a question nobody at LakeCraft could answer. They wanted to know where they could rent a pontoon boat for the weekend. She wrote that down. Over 10 years, Jennifer moved from the assembly line to quality control to customer service. Her salary grew with her, rising from $13 an hour to $21. She was doing something quiet and consistent the entire time. It was invisible to everyone around her. She was maxing out every employer benefit LakeCraft offered. LakeCraft offered a 401k with a 50% match on the first 6%. Jennifer contributed 10% of every paycheck to that account. The employee stock purchase plan let her buy company stock at a 15% discount. She bought $100 worth every month and sold it each quarter, capturing the discount as profit. The company also paid out profit sharing of $500 to $1,500 a year. Every dollar of that went directly into her savings. After 10 years, Jennifer had accumulated $60,500 in her retirement accounts. Most of her co-workers saw that money as retirement savings they could not touch for 25 years. Jennifer saw it as startup capital she was building tax-deferred. In year 10, Jennifer was 40 years old. She was processing a warranty claim when a frustrated customer called. The customer was frustrated in the way people are when something they need simply does not exist. He had rented a pontoon on Lake Wawasee the previous weekend. The engine died in the middle of the lake and ruined the whole trip. He wanted to know if there was anyone in the area running a decent rental operation. Jennifer told him she would look into it. Then she went home and ran the numbers. Over her 10 years at LakeCraft, Jennifer had learned that the Syracuse area had more than 20 lakes within 30 miles. The rental market serving those lakes was sparse and, by every account from customers, genuinely bad. It offered old boats, spotty maintenance, no reliability, and no professionalism. 2 or 3 operators total, none of them doing it well. The customers existed. The demand was real. What was missing was someone who knew boats well enough to maintain them properly. What was also missing was someone who cared enough about the customer experience to deliver on it. She had spent 10 years learning which boats to buy and which engines would last. She knew where the failure points were and how to get ahead of them. She knew every dealer, every repair shop, and every parts supplier within 100 miles. She knew the customers because she had been listening to them for a decade. The plan she built that night was not complicated. She would roll her 401k into a self-directed IRA. A self-directed IRA allows retirement funds to be invested in assets beyond standard stocks and bonds. The self-directed IRA would form an LLC. The LLC would buy the boats. The business income would flow back into the retirement account, tax-deferred. Hayes Pontoon Rentals would be built on the same capital she had been quietly accumulating for 10 years. It would grow the same way, steadily and deliberately, without rushing anything. She did not quit her job yet. In November of that year, Jennifer rolled her 401k into a self-directed IRA and established the LLC. Through the winter, she bought 4 used pontoon boats. Used pontoon prices drop in February because nobody is thinking about boats. The first was a 2006 Bennington 22-footer for $11,500. The second was a 2008 Sun Tracker that needed its seats recovered. She recovered the seats herself and paid $10,000 for it. The third was a 2010 Harris in pristine condition for $14,000. The fourth was a 2007 Lowe with good mechanicals and some cosmetic wear. She paid $12,000 for that one. She built a simple website and had business cards printed. She reached out to 15 lakeside resorts and Airbnbs with a simple proposition. She would deliver pontoons directly to guest docks in exchange for 10% of every booking. 8 of the 15 said yes. She kept her job at LakeCraft through the spring. She had health insurance to consider, income to protect, and a business that had not yet proven itself. Jennifer did not operate on belief. She operated on evidence. On Memorial Day weekend, her first customer took delivery of the Harris on a Friday morning. The family rented a lake house on Lake Wawasee and returned the boat Sunday evening. $400 for the weekend. She was in business. By the end of that first summer, she had logged 47 rental days across 4 boats. She ran the operation on weekends and vacation days while still working at LakeCraft. The boats averaged $280 a day in rental fees. That produced $13,160 in gross revenue. After expenses, she had cleared $7,260. It was proof that the model worked and that customers came back at a 40% rate. The 5-star reviews on Google were real and steadily accumulating. She knew what she needed to know. In January of year 2, Jennifer walked into her boss's office and gave notice. Her boss asked what she was going to do. She told him she was going into pontoon rentals. He laughed, and she smiled. She did not need his approval. She already had the numbers. In year 2, she bought 3 more boats and expanded her partner network to 18 locations. 7 pontoons averaging 65 rental days, each at $300 a day, for a gross revenue of $136,500. After expenses, net profit of $113,000. In 1 full year of running her business, Jennifer out-earned 2 years of LakeCraft combined. She did not rush to buy a new car or move to a bigger house. Instead, she reinvested. She scaled the way she had learned everything else, methodically and without rushing. She watched what the numbers told her and followed where they led. By year 3, she had 11 boats and 25 partner locations. Her net profit that year was $145,000. By year 4, she had expanded into southern Michigan and parts of Ohio. She hired a part-time delivery driver and cleared $165,000. By year 5, Jennifer had 18 pontoons and 35 partner locations, generating $180,000. She had become the dominant pontoon rental operation in the Midwest. Most of her competitors still did not fully understand what had happened or how she had done it. She was 45 years old. She had built this in 2 years of active operation on a foundation 10 years in the making. There is something Jennifer once said that stayed with me when I was reviewing this file. She told herself she was going to learn the business on their dime. Then she would build her own business on her own terms. She said it to herself quietly in the first few years at LakeCraft. She never told anyone. She just went back to work and kept paying attention. Most people in her position would have done one of 3 things. Most would have stayed forever, comfortable enough, eventually retiring with a modest 401k, a company clock on the mantle, and nothing more. Or they would have quit impulsively around year 3 or 4, without capital, without knowledge, without a plan. They would have failed the way underprepared businesses always fail. The most costly mistake would have been treating the employer benefits as noise. That means skipping the 401k because the money felt more useful right now. It means arriving at the moment of decision with no capital to build from. Jennifer did none of those things. She understood before most people articulated to themselves that the job was not just a job. It was a classroom. The employer benefits were not just retirement savings. They were the seed money for something she was going to build when she was ready. Here is what this case teaches. The first thing is that your workplace is an education if you treat it like one. Jennifer did not need a business degree. She needed 10 years of careful attention to a single industry. That meant understanding its products, its customers, its failures, and its gaps. That education was available to anyone at LakeCraft. She was the only one collecting it. The second thing is that employer benefits are startup capital in slow motion. The 401k match, the profit sharing, none of it felt significant year to year. Accumulated over a decade with consistent contributions, it became $60,000 in tax-advantaged capital. That $60,000 launched an 18-boat rental operation. People who skip these benefits because they need the money now are making a trade. They often do not fully understand the cost of that trade until much later. The third thing is the one Jennifer's timing demonstrates better than anything else: test before you leap. She ran the business for an entire summer while she still had a salary and health insurance. She understood that belief is not the same as evidence. By the time she handed in her notice, the evidence was already in. She was not betting on the idea. She was executing on the proof. Here is your assignment. If you are working in an industry you understand from the inside, here is your task. Write down 3 questions about your industry. Ask yourself what customers in your industry consistently complain about. Ask where competitors in your industry consistently fall short. Ask what service or product is clearly needed and clearly absent. You do not have to have answers yet. The habit of asking is where it starts. Then look at your employer benefits honestly. Do not look at what you are contributing right now. Look at what you are leaving on the table. The match your company offers on the 401k is not a retirement perk. It is a return on investment that most external investments cannot match. The ESPP discount, if your company offers one, is guaranteed profit on the day you sell. These are not abstract future benefits. They are capital you are either building or not building, starting today. If you are thinking seriously about a self-directed IRA for business investment, get qualified help first. The structure is real and the tax advantages are real. But the IRS rules around prohibited transactions are strict and the consequences of errors are significant. This is not a strategy to implement from a YouTube video. It is a strategy to implement with qualified guidance. Jennifer was not exceptional. She had no degree, no family capital, no connections that opened doors. She had patience, attention, and a willingness to learn from what was directly in front of her. She did that every single day for a decade. The lakes were always there. The demand was always there. The gap in the market was always there. She was just the one who showed up to fill it. I am Marcus Jones, the finance detective. This has been Case File 524. Run the numbers, follow the money trail, one clue at a time.